Hello, online family. Well, I wanted to share something with y'all, and this is going to be one of those long videos. So, just be ready. Hey, Toto, you coming? No? Okay, well, I was flipping through the channels the other night when I couldn't sleep, and I came across this little ditty. So, I want y'all to listen. We gonna go to church.
Rather strange that a man that is a draft dodger could become such a military expert just, in a matter of 100 days or more. A man who absolutely went to a foreign nation and demonstrated against our military, against our nation, and moves himself through whatever methods, promises, and becomes so-called commander-in-chief. The people in our military cannot speak out against that man. Why? He is their commander-in-chief, even if he is a draft dodger. They have to be very careful. The man is not disciplined. The man does not understand the military. The man, as far as I know, never even belonged to a Boy Scout troop.
Maybe the Girl
Much
Scouts.
less a military organization. Therefore, we must speak not only for ourselves, but for our military, because they are handcuffed, even as one general in somewhere up north, was it Alaska? Somewhere up north.
Near Sarah Palin's house?
Which was separate from the military, called him a draft-dodging, womanizing, something else. I mean, it was all true. But he's being hung out to dry about it.
Oh.
Well, that's what happens to the military if they speak. That doesn't happen to us. We have freedom of speech, and we have freedom of religion. Our religion as Christians very strongly prohibits ourselves, and it is our military, and it is our nation, having anything to do with such an order. Because I'm going to tell you something. Do we have gays in the military now? Hey, we always have had a few here or there, very sparse. I felt sorry for them. I pitied them because they were not happy people, and they would be the first, if they're honest, that would let you know that. If they are known. And it's not that big a deal to tell. Nobody hides in the closet. It becomes obvious.
No.
I'm not saying that all of them flaunt it.
I don't.
But they are miserable indeed.
Scandalous.
But there is a far cry in this nation under God declaring they cannot serve in our military camp, and that's important. I'll document it here in a moment.
Oh, okay.
That our nation, with its so-called commander-in-chief, giving orders that we as a people accept the fact that we may now place homosexuals in our military. That would make God very angry with us.
Oh, no.
And he, I can assure you, would remove his blessings from America. That's how serious it is. Now let me document that for you.
Please do.
God is the same yesterday. He's the same today as he will be forever. And his laws concerning our military, our how that we war and so forth will never change.
Okay.
Except for the fact that when we come to the eternity, there will absolutely be no war. Let's call
that's a relief.
Deuteronomy chapter 20, if we may, verse 1. Let's ask a word of wisdom from our Father as we look into our Father's word on this subject. Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 1, and it reads, "When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid.
Well, what about Humvees and tanks?
For the Lord thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt."
Oh, we're in Egypt?
Do you believe that the reason we would battle over Iraq with the night lit up with anti-aircraft fire, that we would have no one hit? And the reason that the battle only lasted a matter of hours rather than days, was it our ingenuity? Yes. It was also God's blessings. God was with us.
When we're bombing people.
God has always been with us, and it is a promise that we will control our gates. But there comes a time, if something goes too far over center, the people themselves must act, and that's what we shall do, is act indeed.
Okay.
Okay? God
Drama
is with
class?
us when we go out to war. Quite
Oh.
contrary to what some might think, what some powder puff might say to you. Verse 2. And it shall be, when
Powder
ye are
puff?
come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people. In other words, you're going to pray to the Father, talk to him. Verse 3, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. Verse 4, For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. My friends, that's why America has never lost a war. I know that some might say, well, what about you guys in Korea? Did you win? You bet we won.
You go, boy.
There was just a handful of us Marines caught up at the reservoir. We made it out just fine, though there were hundreds of thousands of Chinese, and that's no reflection on the Chinese. Why? God was with us.
Oh.
It was a miracle.
Oh.
And Vietnam, people will say, oh, what an awful war that was. Listen, those two wars broke the back of communism. It exists no longer.
It also broke our economy.
Of your veterans of both those campaigns.
Well, Social Security.
Because they protected this nation as a Christian nation, whereby we have the freedom and the right and the guarantee to be able to do what you're seeing this man do right now. Speak out for the people, to the people, and with the people. That's a great freedom that is precious. It has been purchased at a high price.
Yeah, a lot of dead
by
people.
Men and women of this nation. Don't ever fail to utilize it. Why? God has always been with us. Do you know the way you could change that? You know the way that... I'm going to turn over to the 23rd chapter, and I'm going to show you the way you could change that real quickly.
Okay.
It's about to be done, my friend, and it will be done by July the 15th if the people of this nation, believers, unbelievers, just the people in general, do not stand up and do something. Listen to me.
All right.
I want to go to the 9th verse, if I may, of the 23rd chapter of Deuteronomy.
Okay.
And it reads, When the host goeth forth against thine enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. That means every unclean thing. Keep unclean things out of the military. The military has a full-time job doing its job.
Yes.
Without having something unclean within it. Even to the point.
Defending
verse 10,
oil.
If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanliness, that chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp, he shall not come within the camp. Uncleanliness was usually, it could be any sickness or anything else. You separate him, isolate him. That's done even to this day. It's called quarantine.
Oh.
But there's also another uncleanliness that causes one to be separated from that camp.
And that would be?
You're going to find out what it is in a moment.
Oh, okay.
And, beloved, if you want God's blessings on this nation, you will act. Verse 11. But it shall be, when evening cometh on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again, if that be the case. Verse 12. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad. In other words, to relieve yourself.
Oh.
What God is saying, I don't even want your straddle trench in the camp. I want it out of the camp.
Your what?
That's what many of you people in this modern age would call a straddle trench. Happens to be a restroom.
Oh.
Right? It's kind of a field type restroom. All right, that has been used in military since the beginning of time.
Like, does a bear shit in the woods?
I don't want that in the camp.
No.
Verse 13. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. That means a little shovel.
God knew
And
that.
it shall be when thou wilt ease thyself abroad. That means go to the bathroom. I'm going to translate this where you're not going to have any trouble understanding it.
Well, thank you.
Thou shalt dig therewith, and shalt with the paddle, and shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from thee. In other words, God said, I want a clean camp.
Yes.
Even down to your waist.
Yes.
That is to say, the body waist.
Okay.
Now, verse 14.
Okay.
For the Lord thy God walkest in the midst of thy camp.
And he don't want to step in no crap.
Always has been in our military camps. You may think, well, I always thought you Marines were a bunch of rowdies. Yeah, God was with us, though.
But you was rowdy under
I'm
God.
very proud of some of the things we did, but in camp, we were very disciplined.
Oh.
You never see men more disciplined
Oh.
than in a war situation.
Right. Right. None of that
And to deliver
torture
that's
or
what it's there for.
horrible
It's not there
pictures
to
of,
deliver us, to see that we win, and to give up
naked
thine enemies
people.
before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, and that he see no unclean thing in thee,
Okay.
and turn away from thee.
Okay.
What will God do if he sees an unclean thing among you? He'll turn away.
Oh.
He won't put up with it.
Oh.
Well, now, beloved, I'm honest in my teaching. The Hebrew manuscripts are very clear as to what God means here by unclean.
Okay.
There is no way from the English that you can very well decide, well, what did he mean unclean?
Oh.
He was talking about a very specific thing.
Okay.
And I'm going to insist, I don't even trust you to go to your Strongs.
Or what?
I'm going to have it put on the character generator.
Ooh.
And I want you to see this word, unclean. What
Okay.
did he mean, you shall not have around you? I'm going to have to look to the side to read it for you. I'm on a camera away from it. Excuse my...
I don't know what
appearance.
Perdina
I'm looking
is.
away from you, but that's the way it's got to be. Okay. This is the Strong's word 6172. It's pronounced Irva.
Irva.
And its root is from 6188. The unclean means nudity, literally, especially depudenda, or figuratively disgrace or blemish. And what is this pendunia? Okay?
Do I have a
What does that
pendunda?
word mean? It has a very special meaning.
I bet it
It
does.
means the genitals that extend from the body. God said, I don't want to see
Tallywhacker.
those genitals, that the external genitals of your body. I don't want to see them out in the camp.
You better put them away.
It is not unclean, but
Congress.
it means shame. All right? Something shameful. That is natural, naturally, even in modern day. That's no shame. We
Oh.
all have to relieve ourselves at times. But he's
Oh,
talking about using
not in the
those
camp.
external genitalia for something other than that is natural.
Oh,
You
so
understand?
no erections.
God says, I don't want to see it. And
Well,
if
then
I'm with
don't
you,
look.
I better not see it. I don't know how God could make it any plainer, beloved.
Don't call me beloved.
I really don't.
You're not my type.
That 6172 was your Hebrew word for that. It could not be made much clearer, but he's going to.
Okay, tell me a toto.
I want to skip on, if I may, down to the 17th verse,
Okay.
where God still speaks.
Oh, okay.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
Oh, how
That's to
dare
say,
you.
those tribes that migrated north over the Caucasus Mountains later became Caucasians, called Caucasians.
Were whores?
Europe. Many of them later coming to this nation, Canada, and so forth. Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Well, I know what that is.
You know what a sodomite is. I don't have to draw any pictures here.
Oh, please do.
That falls under the category of what we call homosexual today. It's in that category, within that camp. As a matter of fact, that's why we have AIDS today in this nation and in the world, is sodomy.
No.
It is for that same reason that Christ would teach. It's going to be in the end days exactly as it was in Sodom and Gomorrah. That is to say, practicing sodomy. And you'll remember the two angels that came to Lot. And these men of the city came in the night. They didn't try to drag out the women. They wanted the two angels to seduce them.
No.
And of course, the angels, being supernatural, zapped them and blinded them. And even in their blind, and it was even young kids with them, male kids.
Well, I think the Bible said that Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because the daughters were unhospitable.
You keep your camp clean.
You keep it clean.
Or God will leave it.
Yes.
This is very
Do
serious.
your straddle trench. And no genitals.
Very, very serious. Verse 18.
Okay.
This will clarify it beyond any of your doubts.
I'm ready.
Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow. For even both these are abomination. They are what? An abomination unto the Lord thy God.
God.
What does it mean? Well, the dog growers, the breeders just automatically get real nervous. Don't worry, that's not what it's talking about.
Oh, good. Connie, you're safe.
It is a word that comes from a male prostitute practicing sodomy because of the position in that language.
I don't do it that way.
It's called the price of a dog because of the position he must put himself within to practice his male prostitution in sodomy.
Okay.
You dog growers can tithe out of your dog money all you want to. That's not what God is talking about.
Okay.
It's homosexuality.
Oh.
He doesn't like it.
Oh.
He
No,
doesn't
you don't
want
like it. Have you tried
To
it?
him it is an abomination.
Oh,
If you
abomination.
expect him to go to war with your sons in the future, you will be one of the Christians of this nation that will stand up and say, I forbid it. The answer is no. It shall not happen.
What was the question?
Again, this is a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Oh.
And if there was ever a time in history of our great United States of America, you have come to that moment when by the stroke of a pen, God's blessings can be removed from it. When we are the superpower of superpowers in this generation, blessed by God, appointed by God, fulfilling the prophecy and the destiny set forth thereby. With the promise that we will always control our gates as long as on repentance and that we try. But I tell you this.
What?
If this law or benchmark or precedent come into motion, you will see a punishment upon this nation financially, politically, and no doubt even against our enemies in war. The fall of every nation has been sodomy.
Oh my God.
How can the citizens sit back
I don't know.
and take note?
Oh.
And how can the so-called congressmen of this nation, I've seen letters that have been returned to people saying, well, we accepted racism, we accepted this, and the people will accept this also. No, we won't.
Why not?
When do we come to the end a feeling you can slowly go along and change until you can do away with Christianity. For at this moment, we have a government that is non-religion, against religion, anti-religion. Any group can speak out. If you mention, it can be even a talk show. If the person that calls states that they're a Christian and mention God's name, they're cut off just like that. They're handled as though they were ignorant and have no knowledge whatsoever.
Many are.
It is time, my friend. Do you love your children?
I don't have any.
Do you love your grandchildren?
I don't have any.
Then you're not going to hold still for this.
Oh no, what am I going to
It is
do?
too much.
What's too much?
We will not let the ignorance of congressmen and commanders-in-chief remove our Father's blessings from us and destroy this nation.
No.
God hates an abomination.
Woo.
And I, for one, will have no part.
Then don't.
I will speak with every breath to see that this does not happen.
Okay.
And even if some jerk
Oh, thank you.
should try to sign it into law,
Ooh.
we will not hold still for that.
No,
we will
you
fight and fight and fight.
And cheat and
Because
change
my
laws.
Father's blessings on this nation have always been,
And
we're not
discriminate.
going to let some jerk, draft dodging, womanizer put an end to it.
No.
It's not going to happen.
It did happen.
Am I calling somebody names? No, I'm just telling you the truth.
No.
Every
Christians
word
don't
I've
call
said is
people
the
names.
truth,
We
and
just
I'm
state the
honest
truth.
within that. What a shame. And it shows more and more as days go by. That shame.
What shame?
It's time to do something about it. How about you? Do you care about your children?
Would you be inciting something now?
Do you care about our great nation?
Yes.
Do you care about your father? How he will cry
Oh.
if we don't do something.
Oh, you're stirring it up, aren't you?
There are various programs whereby people will give you 900 numbers, which means you're going to pay $2 or $3 a minute while you talk to some machine.
Those are sex numbers.
And when your political electees, those we have in office, get their numbers, they don't think anything about it because it's a mass farm and they did it. It must come from you.
Mm.
Don't call me. I don't want to put your name in my computer just because you're a good American citizen.
Oh.
Many churches have you call the church so that they can put your name on the list. That doesn't do any good. I don't want you calling this church. If you're a good American, if you're an ex-serviceman, I don't care if you're even an
Y'all know how I feel about that.
believe enough if you're Christian born, that you know right from wrong and that this is too far and we must stop it.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to do. You're going to call and you're going to put, I'm going to give you a mailing address.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you telephone numbers. I think
Okay.
it's well if you do both. Do it in your own hand and don't make it a printed out form. Do it in your own hand and honestly put down what you feel about it.
What they feel or what you
Don't
feel?
hold back.
Okay.
Don't call names as your old pastor does sometimes necessarily.
Oh.
It's up to you, you know. But at least if you do, make them true names, befitting, and even if it's a descriptive noun, let it be.
Ooh.
But be nice and to
Asshole?
the point and simply. But there is one line: we're not going to put up with it.
No.
Did you hear me?
I bet you know John
We're
McCain.
not going to put up with it.
No,
It's
no,
not going to happen.
No.
We don't intend to let it happen.
No.
And that should be your message.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt. You see, the reason your own hand or your own call counts to your congressman, you're the one that voted for them.
Not necessarily.
It doesn't hurt to remind them that any elected political official that wants to participate in sodomy should never represent this nation.
Oh, I didn't know they did
You
that.
should never vote for them again. They should be drummed out of the court.
Okay.
I mean, don't be bashful.
Maybe I should run
my
for
friend.
Senate.
Our Father's blessings on our nation depend on you.
Actually,
What can I do about it? I'm about to tell you.
you just told us, write a letter.
You're a citizen of this nation, and your voice counts.
Yes, unless you're
And
gay.
when the pressure is put on, don't
Yes.
worry. They listen. As long as you do it the way I'm telling you to.
Because you know it all.
Telephone, your own personal message, not mine.
Okay, well, this is where this stops.
Or to write a
He is such an ass to me. Okay, well, this was on, let's see, this is Thursday. This was on Tuesday night. Exciting, isn't it? So, this is on, I think it was around 9:30 p.m. And I think this is public incitement. This is public solicitation. He doesn't know that his words can cause someone to get hurt, someone like me, because he thinks he's completely in the right. No one, and I mean no one in this nation, is stopping anybody from going to a church and worshiping. Now, there are some debates on, like, different symbols in public places and things like that. Well, personally, I don't care. I just think it should be equal. If you're going to have a Christmas tree, then you ought to have a Torah, and you ought to have whatever the Manaya and everything else, because there's more than just one religion in this nation. But then you also have to give way to the Satanists and the Druids, and the witches and the Wiccans and the warlocks and all those other kind of things. But to me, this is exactly the mentality that keeps the hate flowing. I don't see America as a Christian nation, because it says in our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution that Congress nor the government shall ever favor one religion. So what has happened over the last 20 years is we've had people selling their own beliefs and how things should be, and then the rest of us, the ones that don't fit into their idea, well, we're demonized, and I have the scars to prove it. Okay, I'm going to let y'all go for now, but I had to share Mr. Sunshine with you, and I'll have another video coming soon. Bye!